nations. Germany is loaning money, and when it has to be paid back, they get paid. Okay? It's ridiculous. And I think that the Federal Reserve should cut rates regardless of how good this is. We have a great economy, but we have a Federal Reserve that's not in step with the rest of the world. So I think they ought to get in step. And if they were in step, we would, regardless of the China deal is much more important than the interest rates. But because this has to do with more than trade, this has to do with world peace, this has to do with getting along, this has to do with the rest of the world. This isn't just a deal on trade. This has to do with a lot of friction, a lot of bad things that are happening in the world. So this is far more important than the Federal Reserve and interest rates. But the Federal Reserve should cut interest rates, absolutely.
Did you tell them anything about the impeachment process and how that might affect your ability to complete this deal?
Well, I think it's helped me because yesterday we had the biggest crowd. We broke a stadium record. We broke the record in Minnesota. Nobody's ever seen anything like that, and you saw it, and you understand it too. And my poll numbers are going way up. And so the impeachment, it's a hoax. No, we didn't discuss it, but I would tell it's a hoax. It's a hoax done by people that are losing, and they want to try and use it to win an election. And I don't think it's going to happen. And I don't think China believes it's going to happen, because if they did, they'd rather deal with a sleepy Joe Biden who's failing badly. He's not going to make it anyway. But whoever does emerge on the other side, they'd probably be better off maybe waiting. But they also know that when I win, the deal gets even tougher. It gets even tougher. And they expect that I'm going to win. Otherwise, they wouldn't sign the deal. It's very simple.
Mr. President,
Next.
Mr. President, where's that people putting tariffs out?
I do like tariffs.
How are you? What's your inclination then about December?
I think that we're going to have a deal that's a great deal, that's beyond tariffs. This is a deal that's a very important deal for China, very important deal for the world, very important deal for the United States. I think this is a deal that's beyond tariffs. I really mean that. I think that world peace, there was a lot of friction between the United States and China. And now it's a love fest. That's a good thing. But that's good for China and it's good for us, but it's good for the world. The vice premier said the same thing, and he said it better than anybody could have said it. He said this is a great thing for the world. He didn't say China or us. He said this is a great thing for the world, and he's absolutely right. Perhaps you'd like to comment on that.
I fully agree with you. It's good for China, it's good for U.S., but it's also good for the whole world.
Yeah. The whole world is watching.
Yes, whole world is watching.
And it is amazing, and I said...
Not only a peace issue,
Yes.
but not only a trade issue. It provides peace and prosperity and development for the whole world. I think it's very, very important.
He said peace and prosperity for the whole world. So it's beyond a trade deal. It really is. And, the talk was getting tough. Rhetoric was getting tough. We have ships and they have ships, and we have planes and they have planes. And, bad things can happen. Stupid things can happen. But this is a great thing that's taken place. We have a very good bonded relationship, and I have very little doubt that we'll be able to get this thing finalized out. It's not overly complex, and then they'll start phase 2. But this was a very important deal for a lot of reasons. Thank you very much. I hear a helicopter.